Some of my clients have bad credit, and in this video I'm going to talk about how we can help my clients be able to get improved credit, and also how I had bad credit and it allowed for me to get a motivation to improve my credit. So let's get started. Some of my clients with bad credit, I can help them get into a home once their credit improves. However, some of the lenders and some of the credit repair people, they can help my client improve their credit much faster. You can do it on your own, like you do it yourself, or you can have an expert help you in that area. Now, sometimes if my client does not have any idea of their credit score, I would send them to Credit Karma just to get a ballpark of checking their credit score, and also seeing what their credit score is in a general sense. Now trust this, Credit Karma is not an accurate indication of your credit when it comes to when you're ready to buy a home, because Credit Karma, they have a certain type of credit score, but then you have the mortgage lenders, their credit score is more geared towards improving on your mortgage readiness. And so Credit Karma is not the greatest outlook for that. However, Credit Karma is a good alert system. What it does is it can tell you if somebody's pulled your credit, if you got your credit's going up or down. That's a good indication for it. But as for mortgage readiness, I wouldn't trust that as much as experian.com. That's a good indication. Now, because I tell you, with Credit Karma, it will tell you got a 700 credit score. You be like, oh man, and really you got like a 640, 620. So I'm not going to say that, hey, that's one of the best routes to go. Now, one of the more reliable credit scoring websites, again, is experian.com. That's one of those that have a closer relationship with how you would see your mortgage credit score, which is your FICO score. It's very close to that. So I would depend closer on experian.com. But again, Credit Karma has more of a good marketing, so a lot of people know about them, and their website is very user friendly. So I send people to that for that very reason. Now, many people think and look at me and say, James, you're a realtor, and because I'm a realtor, they think automatically I have good credit. That is not the case. Now, I've been a realtor for a few years. However, before I became a realtor, my credit wasn't the greatest. And the case may be for several reasons that I didn't have good credit. And we're going to go over those reasons. So, see, around 2008, I came into some trouble. Now, guess what? That trouble wasn't meant for me by myself. It was me making some decisions, bad decisions related to financial decisions. And when I say bad decisions, they're regular decisions that you and I may make on a regular basis. But if you make a bunch of bad decisions over time, that will affect your credit score. Now, I made these bad financial decisions that affected my credit score and allowed my credit score to go down, and it went down to a 440. Now, I didn't even know that credit can go down to a 440 at that time. Now, later on, I found out that credit can go all the way down to a 350. I'm like, whoa. So I was down, but when you think about going lower and lower, you can go even lower. And so when I tell you I empathize with some of my clients, that's where it is, because when you're empathizing, you say, man, I was there. And so that helps a person say, you know what, if he was there, I can, and his credit is now 700 plus, I can get my credit up. So let's talk about credit, why a lot of people have credit issues. And honestly, speaking of credit, it has a lot to do with your character. Bad credit, for the majority of the people, relates to their character. Yes, some people can have fallen on hard times and just had a messed up situation, divorces and things like that. Yes, it's true. But for the majority of the people, the vast majority of the people, it's a credit issue related to character. It's because the person says, I'm going to pay for this product or service and decides not to pay for it. Or they say, oh, I'm going to pay for, I'm going to buy this thing and I'm not going to pay for it on time. And so that boils down to a credit character issue. And that's very significant when you're talking about building your credit and keeping your credit going. So for my journey, going down to a 440 credit score was all about my character, making bad decisions, making bad financial choices, making bad marital relationship choices. And it was all connected to my credit and my personal credit. So let's talk about my journey from going from a 440 to a 736 credit score. Now, you must realize this. A bad decision can keep you from reaching your goals. And so that's what we got to deal with first. The bad decision that keeping us from reaching our goals. Now, before I went down to a 440 though, I was at a 772. So I had good credit at a 772. But again, the bad decision started allowing my credit to drop. See, back in those days, I had a house, and then when I was doing well, I got another house and could not pay for either one. And so what that did was that allowed for me to start losing my stability, because I had two houses and had no plan on what I was going to do with those houses. No plan on if I was going to live in them, no plan if I was going to rent them out. And those were major factors. And so at the time, I had credit cards. I had a lot of credit cards, about 5 to 10 credit cards. The majority of the credit cards had 5,000 plus balances on them. Now that, and I'll take it back, 5,000 plus credit limits on them. The balances were low, but the credit limits were 5,000 plus. So I had a lot of buying power with my credit cards. Now, what happened was that occurred when I was able to get any kind of needed necessities using my credit cards or money I had saved. I can do that without a problem. I was not living above my means. I was doing fairly well. Now, when I bought that second house, again, things started to change, because I bought that second house without any game plan on what I was going to do with that second house. And so that allowed for me to change up my whole financial situation and started allowing me to get in some trouble financially, because now I got money going out of everywhere. I could not make enough money to keep up with all the bills at that time. So my bills were getting behind. They were getting behind and behind. And you know, that's when the quicksand starts. When your bills start getting behind, you feel like you're in a quicksand, because you you can't get out. You can't get out. And that's how I was. And I couldn't get out. And I said, man, I'm almost like suffocating in debt. I'm suffocating in being behind on bills. And that thing bothered me. So what happens is, when I started getting behind, I started getting behind on my credit card payments, got behind on my mortgage payments, and my credit score quickly started to drop to the 400s. Now, guess who all started to drop me as well? My credit cards. But this is what happened. They didn't start dropping me immediately. They lowered my credit limits. So that 5,000, 10,000 credit limit, they started lowering it to like 2,000, 3,000. They just started lowering the credit. And I'm like, oh, wow, what's going on? Now, these credit card companies were protecting themselves from me because honestly, at that time, they didn't know what I was capable of doing with their money. And honestly, with my mindset and how things were going on, I didn't know what I was capable of doing with their money. But thank God for his wisdom, because he gets all the glory for bringing me out of that situation. Now, back to the credit card companies. The only credit card company that didn't drop me, the only one, was Discover Card. Now, they did lower my credit limit on what I can use and how I can use their card. But through thick and thin, Discover Card stayed with me and my family. And I know as my channel continues to grow, I hope that Discover Card reaches out to me as a sponsor, because they are my go-to. Discover Card was my go-to card then, and they are my go-to card now. I would never forget that Discover Card, at my lowest of my low, they stuck with me and my family through thick and thin. And I remember that because, I look back, those times have changed, but I remember who stayed with me in that time, and that stays with me. So you may say, how did I start rebuilding my credit? So, well, I had to deal with the two houses situation first. So in my situation, I said, I need to start over. No, I didn't file bankruptcy. I know some people file bankruptcy and stuff like that. No, I didn't do that. I just needed to start over. So what I did was, we went through something called short sales and deed in lieu of foreclosures. And so that allowed for me to clear my responsibility from those houses with a deed in lieu from foreclosure and a short sale. And one day we'll talk about that in another video. So when I did that, that was a great reset for me. What I mean by that, I didn't have that burden over me. And so I said, I need to figure out a way to, that burden that was so heavy that I put on myself, I had to reset to allow for me and my family to get free again. And so that's what we did. We started all the way over, and I had to not do just a reset of my financial. I had to do a reset of my mindset. I had to reset my relationship with God. I had to reset my relationship with my wife and family. See, it was a complete reset. And so that's where it was for me. Now, everyone has different situations and different ideas of how to reset their life, how to get back going. But this is, again, my journey on what happened. So what did we do? We started negotiating debts, negotiating payments. We called up the people that was on our credit report, called them up, negotiated lower debts, debt settlements, and things of that nature. We negotiated. My wife, she had all the medical bills from the pregnancies, from the children's sicknesses. She had all that in her name, so her credit was even worse. And so we started working on all those things, and we got free, y'all. We got free. And so we got so free that eventually we was able to start setting up electronic pay. What I mean by that is our bills were starting to be able to come out of our bank account electronically again. So that allowed for us to start paying things on time. Exactly on time. What I mean by exactly on time, there's something in the credit world called slow pay, where you don't pay late, but you pay almost late. And sometimes the credit world can see that, and that can be a negative effect on your credit. So I think that our credit started improving after that, started getting better. And so what happened was we started seeing the growth going from a 440 to a 736 credit score. Now, there's no specific formulas. I'm gonna tell you that. There's no specific formulas, but this worked for me and my family. And now my credit repair people, I have credit repair people that they can dispute the charges. They can negotiate lower payments for you. They can tell you what to pay off, what to put down on this bill, this creditor. They can do a lot of things for you. Even some of my lenders can help you out with those things. So if you need someone to talk to about building your credit, I can point you to some ethical people. Their fees are very small, because what you're saying is if I build my credit, I can afford a house, I can afford a car, and you may have a car now, but it's something different when you're having a 10% interest rate on a car versus a 3%, 0% financing. That's costing you. So that nominal fee that you'll be paying these credit repair people, overall, it's a small fee when you're talking about credit repair, things like that. So I just wanted to talk about that. So looking at my situation, I'm clearly not far from where my clients are today. See, I know how my clients feel. That's not something that I can be like, oh, you know what? Wow, I'm looking down on my clients, because I know I was there. I'm not too far from how your situation is, or you're trying to get out. So I can empathize with you in that. I can empathize with bad credit. I can empathize with some people having some credit challenges. I can point you to some solid people that can help you get your credit in order. Now, if you're looking for a realtor in the Central Florida area, I can help you get into a home. I can help you build your credit with some of the people that I work with. Let's get together. Let's work together. Again, this is a journey.